What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, Dead on Dave, coming at you from Germany, and you guys know why we're here. A big story broke last night. Oh, man. All right, look. It's real simple. If you've been a fan of this channel and you saw the things that we've talked about with Brock Lesnar and the whole situation with the UFC and going back and SummerSlam, there was virtually no situation that really saw a negative outlook. Even if Brock Lesnar would have been knocked out by Mark Hunt, it was workable. There was ways to spin it. There was ways to work around it. But I said many times that the one scenario that would kill everything, and maybe even more than we know, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment, is Brock Lesnar testing for steroids or performance-enhancing drugs, whatever you want to call it. All right. Now, the specifics, the exact drug that Brock Lesnar allegedly popped for is still unknown. We don't know yet. There's speculation, but nothing definitive. Still, this is very damning. Even an accusation. Look, the reality is Mark Hunt, before this fight, said Brock Lesnar is juiced to the gills and always has been. But he also went on to say, I don't care. I'm going to knock him out anyway. So we're going to talk about Mark Hunt in a minute and his ultimatum that he's given to UFC and why I have a little bit of a problem with it, but why I'm also sympathetic. We're going to talk about that in a moment, but let's start with Brock Lesnar and just how damning this is. This is the end of his UFC career. If this does not get overturned, if this is not some kind of anomaly, which I think right now he is maintaining that it is, because the only comment he's given is, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Other than that, he has not said anything about it. In fact, let's go to Brock Lesnar's comments and let's look at what he said. Brock Lesnar, all he did say, he had one quote, we'll get to the bottom of this, and that's it. The Associated Press reported that they received 3 letters from USADA to Lesnar informing him that he had passed tests on 3 other samples collected in mid-June, days before the sample with the potential violation was collected. So there is some irregularity as far as it seems like all the other tests. He was tested 8 times, and at least 3 of the other ones around the failure have come back positive. In the steroid world, that is a little bit unique. Usually, if there's one failure, there's more than one failure. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible that he didn't just juice up. More than likely, what we're talking about is some kind of supplement that's in another supplement. There are so many different things that are out there, even at your local GNC, that will pop you on a USADA drug test. It's very strict what they test for. So it's hard to say. Look, do I think Brock Lesnar has got a needle in his arm? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't believe it for a second. If he has, that means he's been doing it since 2000, and I don't think that's the case. It doesn't mean that he's 100% not, though. It doesn't. The whole I'm a big country-fed white boy is only so much of a defense, because he is more than just a standard corn-fed, country-fed white boy. I mean, he is more than that. He is a genetic freak, or at least that's been the narrative. This changes it now, because now it's synthetic. Now there's possibilities of he's just synthetic. And here's the thing. This is why I have a little bit of a hard time believing that there is something really here, at least as far as nefarious goes, because Brock Lesnar knows the draw that he is. The only thing that he could do to derail that is to cheat. It doesn't mean that he didn't willingly or knowingly cheat, but the likelihood with the money that he's worth and the reasons why he was going back to UFC, this is disgraceful. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And Brock Lesnar, for everything else you could say about him, is a rather logical-minded person, and he does things because he wants to do them. He fights for pride. He fights for notoriety. Yes, he says he fights for himself, but he likes being the draw that he is. He might not like everything that comes with it, but he likes being known as the Beast. He likes beating up guys in the octagon. He likes being that alpha dog. So why jeopardize that by knowingly going in, especially in a short notice situation where USADA is going to test the shit out of you in a short amount of time, which they said they were going to do. He agreed to it, and they did. They tested him 8 times in like 4 weeks. That's a lot of testing. So it's a little bit hard for me to believe that he did this willingly. Not saying that he didn't. Not saying that he didn't do it knowingly, but it's kind of hard for me to believe that. It's just one of those weird situations. Now let's talk about how this affects SummerSlam. In and of itself, it may not at all, because WWE is still saying that he is scheduled to take place, at least with the notice that they put out, because what they said was Brock Lesnar has not performed WWE since WrestleMania and is not scheduled to return to action until Sunday, August 21st. So it's tough. I don't know if that means that WWE is going to simply ignore this or sweep it or what. It doesn't look like it, because they did at least announce it. So I'm expecting some sort of suspension very much similar to the Roman Reigns, and a violation of this nature, especially considering it's Brock Lesnar's. It's 30 days. So I'm expecting Brock to serve the 30 days and then come back in time for SummerSlam. That is if he is 100% failed the test, which we still don't know. The other side of this is where things get interesting, because this is in New York, and New York has a very wonky athletic commission. And the fact that he failed something on the USADA stage with New York works very close with, New York might ban him from competing because he failed something as an actual athlete and performing in any type of pseudo-athletic competition, because wrestling is so fringe. They may not allow him to perform. And if that's the case, there are much bigger ramifications here. We are talking about industry-altering situations, if that's the case, because this would essentially, it would supersede the WWE wellness policy, and it would essentially break it. It would end it, because they would have to go back and look at everything on a different level. If states can make the determination that an athlete, a performer, whatever the case may be, is subject to their regulations and being able to compete in their individual state, because New York would set a precedent by doing that, it changes everything. It changes everything. And it might even, maybe it's the thing that will clean up wrestling, or it potentially is the thing that kills it. Because wrestling being a traveling circus the way it is, especially WWE's version of it, bureaucracy and paperwork is their worst enemy. It's the thing that will kill a company logistically. It's just, it would be very difficult to be able to manage all of this in every single state that they compete in, because they compete in 3, 4, sometimes maybe even 5 different states in a week to 10 days. I mean, it's a lot of traveling. It's a lot of legislation. It's a lot of bureaucracy, and it might end up killing wrestling. So this New York State Athletic Commission ruling, if it does happen, could be monumental. So that's something else to look at. Now let's look back at the UFC side. If this stands and Brock Lesnar is found to even negligently have taken a supplement that contains something that you're not supposed to take, it's a no-no. He's done. He's done in UFC more than likely, because, he's still a draw. That's the thing. If Anderson Silva's not done, Brock Lesnar's probably not done, but Brock may not come back because of the shame of it. And that's what I'm thinking. I don't think he's done because UFC won't have him back, because believe me, they will. He's a draw. If they bring back Anderson Silva, they're going to bring him back. It's not a problem. But here's another issue with it, because Mark Hunt is rightfully so pissed off. Okay? Yes, he was saying that he's juiced to the gills and everything, and that was to sell the fight. Partially it was to sell the fight. But being proven correct, and now this is the third guy that that Mark Hunt has fought that has been caught cheating, in his words. So he wants to be compensated. Here is Mark Hunt's ultimatum. It's heavy, all right? Mark Hunt said, they say they're trying to clean up the sport, but it doesn't feel like it. The UFC is basically saying you can cheat, you won't be penalized. This is the third time I've had to fight a cheater in my career. The other 2 times, I didn't ask for compensation. But this is the third time, and I'm sick of them getting away with cheating. I told Dana that I want a release from the UFC if they don't sort this out. And his definition of sorting this out, hold your breath for this, kids. He wants half Brock Lesnar's purse. Half. We're talking divorce settlement here. Half. Which at the end of it could be as much as $8 million. Mark Hunt is basically holding the UFC hostage for $4 million at most, but at least we're talking, if it's of his $2.5 million, we're talking significantly less, but still a hell of a lot of money. $1.25 million. Jesus. If Mark Hunt thinks UFC is going to do that, Mark Hunt's got another thing coming, because Mark Hunt's 41 years old. And maybe they do want to reward him for, dealing with these situations in the past and being a team player and stepping up to fight Brock Lesnar and all that. So maybe he's compensated in some way. Maybe his ruling's even overturned and he gets the victory against Brock Lesnar and he moves up in his ranking. Maybe that even happens, and maybe that's enough to keep him there. I do feel that they will sort this out in some way, shape, or form, but if Mark Hunt thinks that he is going to hold the UFC hostage over this situation, I think he's going to be substantially disappointed, because they will say, bye, you're 41. But that's bad publicity for UFC, because they're essentially siding with a known cheater if everything stands the way it is. This is a complicated situation. It's a difficult situation. Or maybe it's not. Maybe cut and dry Brock Lesnar is a cheater. I don't want to think he is, because of the respect I have always had for him as an athlete. But facts are facts and drug tests are drug tests. So unless this gets fixed, figured out, or something, Brock Lesnar is tainted in more ways than one. But I don't think that it necessarily screws his legacy, because he never tested positive before, and he had a very lengthy UFC career. He's never tested for anything positive in the WWE. But what does that mean under that sham? It's looking more and more like sham of a wellness policy. What does it mean? That's the questions that is going to have to get asked and answered, frankly, because this is some serious shit. Because if you have a crossover athlete, and it's not serious from a moral standpoint, because look, the cheating is it's relative, it's very ambiguous, it's broad. There's a big difference between sticking a needle in your arm and willingly and knowingly cheating, and then taking a substance negligently and getting popped hot. Now, yes, they have the same outcome. You fail the test. But there is a difference as far as morality goes. That's why you have to throw the morality portion of this out of the window, especially in a very dirty industry like wrestling, like UFC, like MMA. What you really have to do is look at it from a money standpoint, where there is this much money at play, at risk, especially after UFC just sold for $4 billion with a B. Everything is magnified. Everything looks different. John Jones is probably done, not because of necessarily him being a out-and-out cheater, but he got caught this time with shenanigans in his system, and that's coming off of cocaine in his system. That's coming off of hit and runs and alcohol-related situations. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on that will get your ass terminated, and chance after chance after chance. You can't continue to have these guys that tarnish themselves later in their life. Now, John Jones did it early, but Anderson Silva at 40 years old got hit. I mean, it's tough, and those were anabolic steroids in Anderson Silva, yet he was welcomed back as a fucking hero. In fact, if you want to have a fun drinking game, go back and watch his fight that he lost to Daniel Cormier, and every time that Mike Goldberg calls him the greatest fighter of all time, take a drink. You're going to be fucking drunk as shit. He's revered, but he's a known cheater too. Doesn't matter. at the end of the day, does it matter? With this much money on the line, does it matter? I know the common everyday viewer of UFC and wrestling probably doesn't give a rat's ass. They start to care when these guys die young, though, when their hearts give out. That's when they care. That's when everyone's up in arms. But the average everyday viewer, they don't give a shit because it's more entertainment. It's like hitting 700-foot home runs in baseball. Juice them up, Barry Bonds. Boom, 500-foot home run. Boom, it's entertaining. Everyone loves the long ball. But is it worth it when people are dying at a young age? You know, the morality comes into play then, after the fact, after these guys die. So there's so much in this situation. There's so many different nuances and stuff. It's hard to really come to a fair and just conclusion, especially when we don't have all the facts. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I want to hear from you guys. Hit me up on Twitter at DeadOnDaveV or right in this comment section. Also, like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Help the channel out. If you're not going to do anything else with the channel, as far as going to check out some awesome, badass t-shirts and shit over at www.deadondave.spreadshirt.com, look right above here, or donate to the channel. At the very least, like, subscribe, and share. That's all you got to do. Show you care. Other than that, that's it. I'm out. Thank you guys very much for joining me right here on Dead on Dave Productions. Maybe we'll do a Dead on Dave live a little bit later on and talk about this a little bit more in depth. Who knows? But I'm going to go play Pokemon Go because that's still pure, God damn it. Hope you guys enjoy your day. Have a great weekend. We'll see you a little bit later on, perhaps. And as always, if you don't have talent, have talented friends like Jake Link, who killed it last night at Nerd and the Jerk. Make sure you check out Nerd and the Jerk from last night. Incredible. Like Tommy C over at Shot from the Point and his amazing second episode of Baited Podcast over on Baited Podcast with Keemstar and Mr. Colossal is crazy. Man, Colossal is crazy. He's the man. I love that guy. And Jeff Huffman, who has his channel back. Jeff Huffman on my featured page. Go check out Jeff the Huff Huffman. He's back. He's back. And badder than ever. Yes, badder, not better. Badder, because Jeff Huffman's a bad, bad man. And also, check out Tutol over at XLT Podcast. Check him out, my Machinima brethren. Little ching-ching with my Machinima brethren. Whoop-ah. Thank you very much, Tutol, for all the support that you give me as well. Go check him out, all the things he's doing over there. All right? Thank you guys for joining me. And as always, keep it copious, folks. Peace.